Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Paul.
And this is the Minute Podcast.
If you give a mouse a cookie, I'm pretty sure he'd write a book. But give us 60 seconds of footage and we'll tell you where to look. With a concept this simplistic, it's hard to say if it'll last. But give us just a minute and we'll give you a podcast. The Minute Podcast.
Thanks for joining us for another episode. As you probably know by now, the Minute Podcast is a weekly conversation where John and I review a listener-submitted piece of media from a movie or TV show or somewhere weird on the internet, and try to talk through a minute of content, figure out what's happening, how we got there, and what we think's going to happen next. John, what are we watching today?
Okay, this week we're watching and discussing a clip from Spice World, specifically the was it the 31st minute? Yeah, 31st minute of Spice World. An odd bit of a minute.
Certainly an odd minute. And by the way, this week's episode is brought to you by Awkward On-Air Proposals. We're not doing one today, but I wanted to worry a couple of our listeners briefly. Visit awkwardonAirproposals.com/minutepod for a 15% discount on your Awkward On-Air proposal today.
All right, so what I want to go over first is our level of understanding of the thing we're watching. I believe, Paul, this is the first time. Okay, this is the first time since probably the wrestling podcast that we both have pretty much the same level of understanding of the Spice Girls.
I think so, which is to say almost none.
Yeah, and I just said Spice Girls instead of Spice World because for some reason, despite the incredibly simple title, I keep forgetting it. So yes, Spice World is the name of the movie. Yeah, so like, you know, I grew up, you know, we both lived in the 90s, so like it's hard to escape that, but beyond that, it's mostly just air.
Yeah, I think that's the same for me. As a quick litmus test, John, how many Spice Girls can you name?
Scary Spice.
That could be one, okay.
Baby Spice.
That's weird, but could be.
Sporty Spice.
Okay.
Girly Spice.
That one doesn't sound as real, but I don't have a real
Allspice
way to check that. Allspice, yep. And then you've got Old Bay.
Old Bay, yes. Yep. The most
excellent.
My favorite Spice Girl is Old Bay.
It's BAE because we're clever.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, let's briefly say what the scene opens onto. So it appears to be us opening onto an old man wearing some sort of bishop's garb, maybe.
We're back in the trick. We've tricked you. It is in fact the young Pope cast once again.
Well, it's true. This is really a podcast about the Catholic Church and its portrayals in modern media.
Exactly.
But he appears to be in a television interview or something to that effect.
Yes, and the only very briefly before instantly cutting to a man with slick back hair and a blonde woman are sitting in a room that looks like a control tower.
I was thinking a control tower from like 1987.
Yeah, like it's definitely like some sort of authoritarian box that they're packed in there. And I would have to say the sets in this, like, you know, I don't want to jump the gun here, but the sets alone I feel like are worth watching this. I have no idea what's going on in this. But the weird authoritarian box that he's in, then the scene where there seems to be a record producer.
It's not entirely clear. Yeah.
I mean, there's CDs on the wall in the background, and I
thought that was just for dramatic effect. But anyway, we should save that until we get there, John, because I think for this episode it would be great if we did a read through of the script.
Okay. This time we're gonna do a read through. Okay,
yeah, I think this time we should.
This one episode, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, wait, we haven't hashed out who's doing what yet. I guess I'll start with the bishop, and you play Slick Guy.
I'll be Slick Guy, and then you'll be the record producer, and then collectively we will be the Spice Girls.
Yes, we are Legion. We are Spice Girls.
Okay, let's try it out.
All right. I really would.
Here we go. Backlash has started.
And then you pick up the phone and you call me, and I'm in a completely different location. And that's when I, as the record producer, maybe, says, when the rabbit of chaos is pursued by the ferret of disorder through the fields of anarchy, it is time to hang your pants on the hook of darkness.
Yep.
Whether they're clean or not.
Right, then we cut to a title card. There's a flight going from London to Milan, and someone who we think is the record producer.
Yeah.
No,
so,
one of the Spice Girls says.
One of the Spice Girls says, "Why Milan, Clifford?"
Just a TV special. Italians, screaming kids, the usual thing.
Are we there yet? And then, now the song.
3, 2, 1.
Come on,
come on, come on,
come on,
come on, come on,
come on, come on,
come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Do you wanna be in my gang?
My gang, my gang. Do you wanna be in my gang? Oh yeah. Do you wanna be in my gang? My gang, my gang. Do you wanna be in my gang?
I'm the
leader. I'm the leader. What the hell is this?
I'm the leader
of
the
gang.
I
am.
And then that is the minute.
That was weirdly robotic at the end.
That was. I don't know if like maybe Discord is like freaking out at us trying to sing simultaneously over this or something.
Yes, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's all Discord's fault.
Yes, that we sound horribly stunted and robotic.
Like robots.
Mm-hmm.
In a gang. Okay, so my first reaction after seeing this clip, John, was really confusion. I don't know what I expected from the Spice Girls Spice World movie, but it was not this.
So, I suppose I didn't really expect there to be some sort of weird, like, all
gang
of it.
Affiliation?
Yeah, the gang affiliation. Well, that's just the lyrics. I feel like the Spice Girls have always been a bit rough and tumble. Yeah, that's something that we say. But I suppose what was weird is the bishop. Does he spark this? Like, is the bishop being on TV backlash against the Spice Girls?
I think it probably is. I mean, we can get to that in more detail in the "How did we get here" portion. But okay. I think he's reacting to something that the Spice Girls have done, which is inflammatory specifically to the Catholic establishment. And I don't know exactly what that could be. Maybe it's something to do with their gang affiliations, but we can save that for
a
later portion. So I really thought, though, that when we got to the slick back hair guy sitting in his authoritarian box, a couple things. First, he has facial hair that really just screams Joe Dirt to me. It is like incredibly formed and just really gross looking.
Well, you know, different cultural ties, different cultural associations with certain facial hair, I guess. I don't know. But yes, he does look like I don't know, a darker haired Joe Dirt a bit.
Could have called him Kevin Dirt.
Kevin Dirt.
We missed that. So what did you think about his authoritarian box? The first thing I noticed was that there's a fax machine in there, so it really helps to orient you in a timeline.
Only the fastest of information. Like he needs his thumb on the pulse of the world is what I got from that. Lots of communication going on there. There's a phone, there's a fax, there's a television, there's a woman who nods briefly, like all of it.
One thing in response, did you notice how it was all TVs? It wasn't even clear that there was a computer in there necessarily. There was like really thick televisions.
That's true. They were just thick televisions.
Closed circuit TVs. I don't know.
Yeah. No, there was just a bunch of like CRT monitors, I guess. I'm not now that you say it, I'm fairly certain there were no computers in this entire like weird office space that he has.
Right. So what's he watching with all of his TVs? There seemed to be approximately one CRT TV per Spice Girl. So I don't know what's going on there.
First off, do we know how many Spice Girls there are, Paul?
So in the Italian scene that we get to, there were 5 Spice women.
Okay.
Like we should be clear. We're not being pejorative. These are Spice women.
Yes. And is one of them Woman Spice?
That's the fifth one. We missed
That's the fifth one that we missed. Woman Spice.
Woman Spice.
So with the with these 5 CRT televisions, do you think that it is just a closed circuit television to, like, I don't know, keep track of the Spice Girls?
I think it probably is. Yeah.
Okay, that's creepy.
It's weird, little dystopian kind of.
Yeah.
So who do you think the woman was in this scene? My best guess is that she's the mother of the youngest Spice Girl.
Oh.
But I don't know why I say that. I think Baby Spice might have been blonde, and this woman was blonde. I don't know.
Are the Spice Girls not all sisters?
Ooh.
I mean,
no.
I don't
one
know.
Spice family?
Yeah, I mean, like, they don't necessarily all look alike, but
True.
maybe adopted? Could she
It
be the Spice Mom?
She could be the Spice Mom. Wow.
The Mother Spice?
The Mother Spice.
Where
I don't
where all spices come from?
She sired all of the younger Spice Girls. Maybe it's a sort of vampire.
The spice must
plan,
flow.
Well, we're not on Arrakis, so I don't know if that fits entirely. But one thing that was really jarring for me, John, is actually the jump from this authoritarian box to Roger Moore's James Bondian-looking
the
room?
Blofeld villain room that was most assuredly in the middle of a volcano.
Well, I think it probably was. I have a hard time saying for sure, though, whether or not this was like a record producer's room, because you're right, there were CDs on the walls, but they were also lit with different colored lights, which makes me think maybe they were just going for a James Bondian effect.
That's true. And it's not like they were like, the wall is very far away. This is a large cavern of a space. So there's nothing that says, like, these are CDs, but they were roughly the size of a CD. And
yeah, I mean, they were definitely CDs.
Yeah.
In the real world, in this universe, were they CDs? I don't know.
I don't know. In the Spice-averse?
In the Spice-averse?
The Spice cinematic universe?
Right. So do you think, here's a real question for you, that Roger Moore went to a set and they gave him, specific costumes to wear, or did they just show up at his house? And this was a room he has and he lives there.
Was that Roger Moore?
That was definitely Roger Moore.
That was Roger Moore?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm now just realizing that was Roger Moore. Okay, so yes, this is obviously Roger Moore literally phoning in his part.
I think so.
For this movie. Cashing that check.
Yep.
Cashing that check, and this is obviously Roger Moore's house. Like they just, like, were given permission to set up a camera in Roger Moore's volcano flat, and just, like, shoot it there, and then instead of reading the lines, he was like, I can only do one take. It'll cost you like 20 times more if you want more than one take. So I'm just gonna do this in one take. But in like, the fashion of a man of such import, he didn't have time to actually read the script or anything. So he just
I think he was also drunk based on his delivery.
Probably drunk or on shrooms, maybe. I don't know. There was something there. But what came out of his mouth was, when the rabbit of chaos is pursued by the ferret of disorder through the fields of anarchy, it is time to hang your pants on the hook of darkness, whether they're clean or not. That's when, I feel like the director or whoever was, on site shooting this in his abode.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they went, crap, like, we can't afford not to put this in the movie.
Yep.
What else are we gonna do with this other than just, like, have the slick back hair guy
just agree with it?
Yep.
Look, that makes sense.
Yeah. What else would your reaction be? Exactly.
I already knew that. I don't know why I called you.
Yeah.
It really, this is the first time we've had a clip with such a confusing delivery like that. That's really made me want to watch more of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that at the end, but I want to know, like, is Roger Moore okay?
Yeah.
Does he play a large role in this movie? Like,
I mean,
has he had a stroke? What's going on?
Is Roger Moore not dead?
I actually don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Well, was he dead in 1993?
Did he die like this year? Aban just died, didn't he?
I don't know. We'd have to verify that, and we shouldn't spread those kind of rumors on the internet.
Oh, that's true. I don't want to be the person to tell anybody that Roger Moore died.
Roger Moore's dead.
Yeah, so if you're related to Roger Moore and you found this particularly disturbing, I apologize. I have no idea about the well-being of your family member.
Well, that would be a weird turn of events. So back
to
yeah.
Are we possibly going to be beheaded if we set foot in like English soil because we aren't like referring to him as like Sir Roger Moore?
Has he been knighted?
This is another thing I can't verify.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry if you're related to Roger Moore and you got overly excited that you are now part of some sort of weird like knight ship. Yeah, I mean you were already part of a dynasty.
That's true.
The Moore
dynasty.
Moore dynasty.
Oh, man. All right, but getting away from Roger Moore and back to the scene, as they're flying to Milan, we learn that Italians and screaming kids are the usual thing for the Spice Girls. John, based on your experience in the mid-90s, was that normal for all pop stars?
Yes, specifically Italian people and screaming kids. Yes, that checks out. That checks out.
I'm glad that you can verify that. But for the first thing I saw when we got to this Italian shoot was what appeared to be a producer with the thickest unibrow I think I've ever seen.
I don't remember this at all.
John, you missed the unibrow. It was amazing. It was like a caterpillar died in the middle of his forehead and just...
Okay. And
it was thick.
It just laid there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's describe this scene a little bit. So we've got unibrow guy, we've got the slick back hair guy who may or may not be named Clifford.
It's not clear.
Yeah, not clear. And then we have, I assume, the Spice Girls dancing and singing, "Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on."
It's true that
over and over again.
One of them is wearing a spacesuit, and I don't have enough information to know if that's like Spacey Spice, a later addition to the Spice Girls, or if they just wear it's Kevin's daughter. I don't know if they wear,
I like
Kevin Spacey.
I like Spacey Spice. Yeah. That's a good idea. They should add that now.
They should for the next reunion tour.
They're not still okay. Never mind then.
John, if you tell me the Spice Girls are dead now, I don't have enough information to verify, and you're spreading a lot of rumors.
No, I meant that I didn't know that they weren't, like... Are they still not together?
I think they did a reunion tour somewhat recently in the last couple of years.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm sad that they didn't last longer.
Yeah.
Or
maybe they did.
Or maybe they did. Or maybe... This is the episode where we ask our users to Google for us. And then
that happens most
get back
episodes,
to us.
Though.
We're at theminutepodcast@gmail.com, and you guys feel free to tell us about all of the facts that we're getting wrong.
You probably should. Yeah, we need to increase the email traffic there. But the point of this song, John, to me, seems to be that they are in a gang.
Yes.
And they want to know...
They're punching the air.
They're very punchy. That way we know they're serious.
But, like, their elbows are also up, like their upper arm is basically perpendicular to their bodies, and they're punching the air in a way that would be rather ineffectual if they were actually trying to beat up somebody.
I think that's definitely true. John, what do you see as the main benefit of joining the Spice Gang?
Well, one of them is the leader, or they're all the leader. Maybe it's like a Dread Pirate Robert sort of situation.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah. Other than that, I'd personally like more details.
It's true that they don't make a very comprehensive offer.
What's the pay package like?
What are the benefits?
Yeah. 401k matching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the important questions that they don't. Well, maybe they were getting to that in the song. It does seem like they were interrupted a little bit.
Yeah, they were interrupted by scantily clad firemen.
I'm pretty sure they were sailors.
Sailors, that's what it was. It's the same thing, really.
I mean, there's probably firemen in the Navy. Ships can light on fire.
Yeah. The ocean just doesn't take care of that for you.
It's true. You got to plan for that. So the gang seems to consist of, based on what we see on screen, 5 Spice women and 6 mostly naked Italian sailors.
Are they confirmed Italian sailors?
Well, they're in Italy and they're wearing sailor hats, so I'm going with it.
Yeah, you're. I mean, they do have. I mean, it is a rather nautical nation, I'd imagine.
It should be. Yeah.
So I mean, probably pretty good chance you can find some. I don't know, like brawny off-service sailors for the afternoon shoot.
You would think wouldn't be too hard, and they were definitely brawny and mostly naked.
Yes.
But I'm not sure, John, even if I wanted to join this gang, that I'm qualified to be in it. Because I am neither a woman in her early to mid-20s, nor am I a mostly naked Italian naval officer.
I mean...
So I think it's sort of a moot point. Like, do I want to be in your gang? Well, I don't know, but I don't think I'm qualified.
Now, okay, that is true. Or is it a proposal? Like, are they in fact asking us to be in their gang? Or is it like... You want to be in my gang? Or is it, do you want to be in my gang? I mean, technically they say, do you want to be in my gang?
True, and I'm not really sure how that factors into the decision-making process.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Oh, and they do say, oh yeah, at the end of one of those. Like they forgot.
Oh yeah, we're recruiting for the gang. Spice.
You want to be in my gang? My gang? My gang?
Yeah.
Do you want to be in my gang? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to be in the gang. But I think, John, I do want to be in the gang because we know that he who controls the spice controls the universe.
Exactly.
And he who controls the Spice Girls probably controls 1996.
Okay, so now I think we're getting into what happens next year. Or
It's
what
true.
Like how did we get here, what happens next? Because I think that this is some sort of weird controlling Spice Girls scenario.
Okay.
Between the authoritarian room with the slick back hair guy talking to Sir Roger Moore, sorry. I assume. It just to me feels like he's taking orders. And then the fact that the Spice Girls, like, I assume it was them on the plane going like, are we there yet? Like, why Milan? Like, he's obviously making the choices here. So is he using the Spice Girls to do something? To upset the clergy? I mean, they're going to Milan, which I imagine is pretty sure in Italy. So
it seems accurate.
Yeah, seems accurate. Checks out on my mental map of places I totally know about. And so, like, upsetting a clergyman and immediately going to Italy feels like maybe he's like on some sort of like, is he the Antichrist? Are they being used to?
Is Kevin Dirt the Antichrist?
Yes, Kevin Dirt.
Maybe it's possible. And John, your theory is not dissimilar from mine. I believe that the Spice Ladies have done something to offend the papal sensibilities, I think by starting their gang, because we all know the Catholic Church is opposed to gang violence. And then I think this Italian producer with the unibrow has invited them to Milan and inserted these naked sailors into their shoot to drum up additional controversy to really cash in. Because we sort of forgot to mention that the Spice Girls they seem surprised by having these men in the background.
Okay, so that's another point of confusion, as I didn't know if they were surprised, if they were all surprised, or just one of them. They like I feel
at
like
least Spacey Spice was surprised.
I feel like that's what we were going to learn next. Is like, why are those sailors here? And obviously they weren't expecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, why are they there? What is the effect these Italian sailors, the Italian Navy coming in here and like blowing stuff up?
Well, I think, speaking of what I think it's going to lead to next, answering that question is that there's going to be a gang showdown between the Spice Gang and the rest of the Italian Navy.
Oh, I like this.
Well, I hope it's true, because the Spice Gang is outnumbered. They consist of at most 11 people, 13 if you count the two of us, since we're being recruited.
Yes.
And then the entire Italian Navy?
I mean,
they probably have more than 13 people.
But here's the thing. if Italians and loud teens are normal at Spice Girls concerts, think about how many Italians and loud teens that they've already recruited into their gang. So, like, I'm wondering if maybe, like, there isn't even going to be, like a coup within the Italian, like, military.
It's possible, which does feed into your theory a little bit. Maybe this is their way to take down first Italy and then the Vatican.
Oh.
Whoa.
This is a lot. This is a hole I did not expect to end in.
It's true, and John, I don't think I want to be in their gang anymore.
No.
This is getting a little dark.
I think it's getting a little too intense for me. I feel like this is what sparks off a possible World War III in the 90s.
Definitely could. A retroactive World War III, yeah. Definitely could be.
Well, you never know, Paul.
That's true. It's definitely possible. So, John, can you give us a quick summary of what you think this movie is about? Obviously, we know it's about the Spice Girls on some sort of journey, but that seems to be all we have.
I think it's about an evil organization trying to use the Spice Girls to take down the Catholic Church.
That's so much better than my theory that I'm also going to go with that.
Okay. Are you embarrassed, Paul? Are you embarrassed by your theory?
Well, no, yours is just better.
Oh, okay.
I wish I did know to what extent this movie is a spoof of something, because Roger Moore's delivery makes it seem very spoofish, like it could actually be funny.
It does.
But the rest of it does not necessarily seem very spoofish, so I really don't know. And that sort of feeds into the recommendations. I don't know if I can recommend this movie or not. I think if you like seeing, 90s musical phenomenons or mostly naked Italian men, could be a great movie for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to help me investigate Roger Moore's mental health at this time, please watch it and tweet at me at Minute Podcast, and we can try to figure out what was happening. But if those things don't appeal to you, I don't know if it's a movie for you.
So tweet at us at Minute Pod.
What did I say?
At Minute Podcast.
Yeah, don't tweet to that. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna at you about this, Paul. I can't.
I think everybody should.
Stand. Yeah, no,
it's true.
No, but so yeah, no, I think I'd recommend it because I loved all the scenes. I loved all the horrible like costuming. The Spice Girls were an enjoyable part of it. The creepy, weird delivery by Roger Moore was fantastic and made me feel like I was being sold like beer for some reason. I'm not really sure, but
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, even though there was no beer in the scene, I guess because he was obviously drunk while delivering that line.
It must be what it is, John. This might be the first time that we both actually end up watching the content afterwards.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we follow up, do a follow-up mini episode, and let everyone at home know what we thought.
Maybe
I won't commit to that right now, but
maybe this is the start of our new Spice Cast.
Oh no!
Minute by minute Spice World.
Well, let's see. If you listeners at home want that to be a thing, tweet at us, email us, and we'll consider it.
Well, we've got 1 minute down already. Just another few left to go.
Definitely true. Well, John, is there anything else really pressing from this minute that you saw that we need to bring out?
No, I think this is pretty concise. I liked it. I want to see more of it. I think Roger Moore, finding out that was Roger Moore was just delightful and terrifying.
If it turns out I was wrong, that's going to be really disappointing. Well, we should jump into our thanks but no thanks segment because we had our first email submission of a minute rather than someone using the web form. It was from Nee, who submitted us a clip from Salad Fingers, which I guess we didn't talk about this in advance, John, but I'm incredibly familiar with Salad Fingers. Cartoon from the 90s.
I'm probably pretty familiar with Salad Fingers. I mean, I probably am less familiar, given your confidence that you just had, but
okay.
but I have seen Salad Fingers, and I know a great deal about it, so probably.
Okay, so yeah, we're pretty confident we won't be able to use that clip had we not already seen it.
But thank you very much for this.
Yeah, that's the kind of gold we're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. If you can find a Salad Fingers that we don't know anything about, or something that has nothing to do with Salad Fingers, but is still a minute clip, we'd like those. And
so if you'll send us a minute, basically is what you're saying.
Anything, really. Just please send us a minute. And you can fill out the submission form. Of course, you can email us at theminutepodcast@gmail.com, but you can also send us a submission form on our website, which is theminutepodcast.com/contact. And that'll there's like a Google Doc submission process that you can do there. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy to use there. Well, great. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. A big thank you to 90s Kid for recommending this week's Minute. It was definitely a solid minute, one of our favorites so far.
Yes.
If you want to support the podcast, you can review us wherever you download it. iTunes is probably the easiest place. Or you can send us an email at theminutepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @MinutePod. We have a Facebook page now. Just search Minute Podcast. Or, just know us in real life, I guess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this episode was hosted by John Ward and Paul Rieberg, produced by John Ward with theme music by Paul Rieberg. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Holy crap, you made it to the end. We'll be back next week to do it all again. Until then, be well and be sure to take a minute. The Minute Podcast. 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 The Minute Podcast.